This is DDS. From the DDS studios, we are your hosts today. Blake Melton, Bradley Newberry, Matthew Parker. Well, he's a pirate. He's out on the open seas today, drinking one in honor of him. Newberry, what's going on today?
Happy Sunday, Mr. Milton. Just kicking back, did some yard work, drinking a beer. And by God, we're going to talk some sports on a Sunday.
Absolutely. But before we do that, please go ahead down below, hit that like and subscribe button for us. It's free. It really helps us out, guys. Really appreciate that from you. Go ahead and hit that Rumble button on Rumble. Follow us on all our social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and Twitter at DDS Sportstalk. And you can find all of the audio versions of these podcasts on your favorite podcasting platforms, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and the like. We're there, guys. Check us out. Newberry, look, this is a time of year where everybody is looking for something to do with sports. They're craving it right now. I mean, the only thing really going on right now is baseball, right? You got the College World Series wrapping up.
We got a little NHL wrapping up.
Yeah.
Stanley Cup.
Right. And but football,
NBA
obviously
just finished.
Everybody loves football. They want it. They're thirsting for it. But my goodness, can we just have some good news come out of the NFL for once? I mean, it seems like everything's negative.
I mean, it's just like society. The society doesn't want to talk about the good.
No.
I mean, if it's bad, then it's ratings. Negative equals rating. Controversy creates cash, as I remember hearing and watching wrestling growing up.
Right.
So without controversy and negativity, what are they going to talk about? There's plenty of good out there.
There is.
There are 99 point whatever % of all NFL owners and players are fantastically good.
Yeah.
The community outreach.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
I mean, it's that
but
0.0.
They overshadow everybody.
Yeah.
They're so bad. I mean, we'll jump right into it here. Deshaun Watson. This story just will not go away. It just won't go away. I mean, and rightfully so. It's, we kind of hinted at, where there's smoke, there's fire. He settled 20 of the 24 or 22, whatever it was.
20 of the 24. 4 are expected to go further into court systems. These are the ones we know about.
I mean, exactly. That's what we said on the last show, is these are just the ones we know about. They can't all be lies. I'll just say that. They're too detailed. There's too much smoke here for there not to be fire. I was reading in a New York Times article that it's actually implicating the Texans too, saying that the Texans provided Watson with hotel memberships as well as NDAs for use for some of his appointments. I mean, it's a bad look. I mean, talk about a fall from grace. This guy was kind of thought of to be kind of the good guy, before all this came out.
Let's not forget, he has never been charged once.
No, they've settled. Yeah, they've settled. But here lately, let's go ahead and pull this article up here, right? Because this is what we're talking about. This is the news that's kind of permeating everything right there. Who is this? This is Paul Kasabian over at the Bleacher Report. NFL is pushing for an indefinite suspension of Deshaun Watson. Now, typically, from what I've seen in the past, the NFL is hesitant to ever jump into something like that without pretty concrete evidence. I mean, you look here at the article, the NFL is looking to hand down an indefinite suspension lasting no less than 1 year under the league's personal conduct policy. That is, I mean, it goes on to say here, he settled 20 of the 24 lawsuits. 2 more were being processed. He's denied allegations and all that. Yeah, well,
I mean, we're not talking about one or two
No.
incidents here. We're talking about 24 that are just known.
Yeah,
Who knows how many are unknown?
absolutely.
It's not just a one-off.
Absolutely.
24.
So, all right, let's read this statement here. The league's belief that it should institute what is essentially the strictest discipline it can assess is based on its investigation over the last year, the breadth of the allegations against him, and some accusations that NFL officials have concluded are particularly damning. That doesn't sound good. While the league's arguments include the broad array of the accusations against Watson, in addition to the 24 lawsuits, other women have accused him of wrongdoing without taking civil action against him. Again, these are just the ones we know about, right? Officials have zeroed in on 5 of the alleged victims whose cases they believe include the strongest evidence. It says that the league will focus on those 5 cases as it argues for the significant ban. Those cases include contemporaneous corroboration. Good Lord, those are a lot of syllables, such as text messages and women's accounts. 2 of the people said, the league's officials believe those allegations in particular are objectively provable. Oof. And establish a clear and disturbing pattern of behavior. It sounds like they've got them dead to rights on some of these. It sounds like they have proof. It says that they're not going to accept a suspension of less than 1 year. I mean,
I believe
this is like Ray Rice stuff. It sounds like.
I mean, I believe it. I believe the NFL will. I believe the hammer's coming down here. I can't get past the number. I can't get past the number of 24 known accusations, cases, if you will.
Well, and it said in the article that some of them just have come out, but they didn't file any kind of civil lawsuit.
Yeah. And I mean, so we've got a lot of things already being planned for the aftermath.
Yeah.
We have, if it's ruled that Watson did not violate this policy, it's like it all goes away. But then what happens from the civil side? I think that gets ramped way up.
Yeah.
Because then they're going to really, the outside will really attack the NFL at this point and question a lot of things with how the NFL just operates in general. If that is just, no, we see no violation.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the other hand, if it's ruled that Mr. Watson is guilty of violating the conduct policy, then you already know that the players union is going to appeal, and then that'll take time. Does the appeal allow him to play by technicality? I don't. This story's not going away, and the funny thing is this was already known. And we tie it back to the Cleveland Browns.
I know.
Making this guy the highest paid.
We're talking about a guy that's now going to miss a third year of NFL playing time.
The Browns knew this.
I know. And now they're going into I'm sure there's probably something written into the contract that gets them out of it somehow. But my thing is that, I mean, he's pretty much got to be done, right? If this ends up to being another 2 years of him out of football, he's done, right?
Look, if you and I
we don't know what he's going to look like after these 2 years that he's missed.
We're not professional athletes, but just from layman terms, if we take 2 to 3 months off of playing golf, it takes us a minute to get ramped
the
back
expectations are lower for sure.
2 to 3 months. We're talking about 2 or 3 years.
Man, whoa.
I know he's young. He's at the top echelon of athleticism.
I mean, sure.
Not a damn robot.
No. I don't understand. I mean, this is such a Cleveland Browns thing to happen, right? Like I said, the only thing that would have made this better is if Colin Kaepernick was his backup. I mean, you just got a complete, you got a complete question mark now as to. I mean, they have to proceed forward to like their backup. Who's their backup? I don't even know who their backup is.
It could be Case Keenum, but there could be hope. I have something for you.
Uh-oh.
Michael Balco Jr., sports writer and host of the Michael Balco Show podcast.
Yep.
Reporting just this morning. The Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, boy.
And the Cleveland Browns are nearing a trade agreement that would send Baker Mayfield to Seattle. And we all remember that Seattle got quarterback from Denver when they traded Russell Wilson to Denver. So there could be actions coming next week because the Cleveland Browns know they're screwed.
They're hosed. Where do they go?
It doesn't matter if it's Case Keenum. It doesn't matter if it's the poor guy from Seattle that didn't play any good at Denver nor at Missouri in the SEC.
Yeah. Oh, good Lord. I can't even think of his name. Drew Lock.
It doesn't matter.
Right.
I just hear The Rock. What is your name? It doesn't matter what your name is. You're a loser.
Oh, good Lord. This is such a Browns thing to do. It just is.
So congratulations, Odell Beckham Jr. Congratulations, Jarvis Landry, for getting the fuck out of there.
I mean,
Nick Chubb.
I know it.
Nick
probably,
Chubb's left behind.
Yeah.
He's going to get run into the ground.
I mean,
they're going to hand the ball off 500 times.
Everybody knows what they're going to do now. Everybody knows Case Keenum's not going to beat him.
Hooper got out. He's in Tennessee.
Yeah. What I mean, the Browns. I mean, they are totally screwed right now. But they got themselves into this. What were they thinking?
This news was known about Deshaun Watson.
Everybody. I mean, we've been talking about it for a while. That what happens whenever this comes back to roost.
But not only did they trade for him, they paid this man as if he was
Jesus 230 million or something like that. 230, 240 million.
The most. I mean,
it was in the article.
Aaron Rodgers is still playing. He didn't get that. Tom Brady is still playing. He never got that.
205 year, 230 million.
Peyton Manning played for 18 years. It seemed like he didn't get paid that.
I mean, yeah, they're going to pay a guy that hadn't played football in 2 years, who has baggage that we all know is coming back to haunt him at some point. And they just said, sure, Deshaun, let me pay you. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I don't know. I mean, to me, this organization deserves whatever the hell it gets. It really does.
I'm
poor decision making, but it has a history of that.
In my dreams, I'm very thankful for the Jets winning a couple of games back to back to allow the Jaguars to draft Trevor Lawrence to take them out of this possibility, because I could have easily seen the Jags going for this stinky bait as well.
Oh,
if they didn't have Trevor Lawrence.
I mean, you remember all the talk about him going to Miami too.
Oh, Miami got so lucky.
I mean, they really did. I mean, let's just face it. I mean, Cleveland is laying a giant shit burger. I mean, that's really what it is. I mean, they are in such a bad spot right now. And they have just put, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I said, there's probably something written in there that if these charges come back up, that they aren't liable for paying them, but they're going to have to pay them something. At least part of it was guaranteed, right?
Yeah. Watson has a base salary of $1.035 million for the 2022 season as a part of a 5-year contract he signed with the Browns worth guaranteed $230 million. He would lose that salary if he's suspended for the entire season, and it's possible that the NFL could seek to impose an additional fine. It's too much, man. And
it's just so it keeps going deeper and deeper and deeper, right?
And with the appeal, this is where it has the, you know how we say shit goes downhill here.
Yeah.
The NFLPA is expected to cite the following if Deshaun Watson is accused here.
Oh boy. Can't wait for this.
It says NFL is expected to cite, among other issues, the NFL's decision not to suspend the following owners: Jerry Jones, Robert Kraft, and Washington Commanders Daniel Snyder. If that's not another guy in the news, I don't know what is. Because old Danny.
Yeah, we might as well just jump right into
Danny's been
that.
in the news as a punk ass prick for over a decade.
There are so many bad people in positions of power in the NFL. It's ridiculous. Let's see.
Well, I think money can get away with it.
Let's just look at this one instance right here. This is from yardbarker.com. Who wrote this? King W. Motley III. Okay. Dan Snyder allegedly had milk poured in Nationals owner's suite as payback for business deal.
That's mature.
Now, let me just show you this picture here. That is the picture of a grown fucking child, is what that is, with money. You know, this article goes on to, I mean, so this guy's been summoned before a House hearing, a congressional hearing about all this.
He has been subpoenaed to show up this week.
Yeah, and he didn't last week.
And will he? Is now the question.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't this last week.
He's not in the country right now.
So, I mean,
are they going to bring him back?
I mean,
they just had Roger Goodell this past week. Goodell's apparently trying to cover for him. He's not to my recollection. I mean, come on. So this article we have on screen here has a quote. It has a quote of someone who gave, I guess, a deposition or a statement of some kind to the congressional hearing. We completed a business deal with the learners that, in Dan's view, was way too much money to pay, but we needed the parking. Pawkins' testimony read, Dan wanted to see Mark Lerner's suite, and we go up there to his suite. This was on a non-game day. Dan asked me to pour milk on the carpet under the seating in Mark Lerner's suite so that the suite would smell like sour milk when the Lerner family came in on game day. He had, redacted, do that on another occurrence. So, man, he says, I owe Mark Lerner an apology, but I did it because Dan told me to do it. So this organization, I mean, talk about an organization in decline. You know, an organization that, you know, at one point, yeah, was kind of looked at as a pretty respectable organization. But this started a long time ago. Yeah, it's not just this year.
No.
Our off season.
No, I mean,
I've enjoyed the articles I've been reading about Dan Snyder and the Washington Commanders launching what they're calling a shadow investigation.
Yeah.
To try to discredit former employees. Like, look, they're shit. They don't mean anything. What they say doesn't mean anything.
Yeah,
blah,
that's
blah, blah,
that's all mentioned
like
in this timeline. I mean, this all started back on this. It starts way back farther than what we're talking about.
2000s at least.
But in 2018, this all goes back to the whole Gruden thing, where he started talking about, you know, cheerleaders, you know, sending pictures of folks or sending pictures of cheerleaders, you know, with their shirts off and stuff. They made, you know, cheerleaders make allegations in New York Times report in 2018. President of business operations resigns. Team pledges more family friendly atmosphere. I mean, good grief. I mean, it just keeps going on and on and on. It just never seemed to go away. I mean, some of this stuff, I mean, 17 women make allegations in Washington Post report in 2020.
That's
17.
7 fewer than the Deshaun Watson thing. So is that why he gets a pass? No, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. We already know that he's paid over $1.5 million to a poor lady. I shouldn't say poor lady, but to a lady that accused of Snyder asking for sexual favors, send the pictures, groping her, removing her clothes against her will.
I mean, I'm assuming that that's what this is right here. In 2020.
Just because you have power and money, you think you can just sweep that under the rug, man.
Yeah, this is from theathletic.com. It's a very involved article, very long article, because unfortunately this is just a total shitstorm in DC. As if it wasn't already enough of a shitstorm in DC. It's absolutely embarrassing. It's just embarrassing to see some of this stuff. Here's the whole Gruden thing here. Golly, Congress gets involved. 2021. Golly.
Listen to this thing. I mean, it's not just his actions against women. But right here, I'm about to quote something to you where he attacks a completely different community. COO of the Washington football team, Commanders now, Palkin, former COO, testified that Snyder would say of him, "Yeah, he has to be gay. As ugly as these cheerleaders are that he hired, he has to be gay." I mean, that's a double whammy in just one statement. One testified statement.
You know, I mean,
calling his COO names and judging the women by their looks.
Look, we've been really hard on organizations before for making the work environment toxic. You know, I'm specifically talking about the Urban Meyer fiasco that was in Jacksonville. Kudos to Shad Khan for putting an end to it. But it just seems like there was no stopping this guy. He was in the position of power. He was going to do whatever the hell he wanted. He was going to be a complete dick to everybody. He was going to make inappropriate comments, lewd comments, make inappropriate actions against women in the organization. It's hard for me to sit here and say that there's a bright future for the Washington Commanders whenever shit like this is going on. You know, particularly in today's time when nothing is really a secret, right? You know, 24-hour news cycle. Anybody can just pull out their phone and take a picture or anything like that. You send a text message, it's there forever. Somebody can take a screenshot of it and post it, and it's immortalized, basically.
Yeah. Palkin later testified, he said, rather than discipline coaches for sexual harassment against these women, that Dan Snyder ordered the female to just keep their distance. It's not the coach's fault. Stay away from my coaches, and that won't happen.
So it's her fault. Is that what I mean?
You looked good, and you were presenting yourself as bait.
Absolutely crazy. I mean, it just makes me question the Commanders as a legitimate organization in the NFL. What's the Owners Association going to do? Are they going to do anything?
Roger Goodell was asked if he would be able to start the process of getting Dan Snyder removed as an owner, and he says he doesn't have that power, which is technically true. The owners would have to vote on this, but where Roger Goodell was a little bit short-sighted was he can start the process.
Yeah, he can
can't be the judge and the jury.
I mean,
but he can start
the court of public opinion is powerful, and if he comes out strongly and says this should not be tolerated, the Owners Association need to meet. They need to act on this. The NFL has to take a stand, regardless of whether they have the power to oust him. It doesn't matter. They have to have a stand about where they are with how these people are being treated. Because, I mean, honestly, you know, I sound like I'm on my other podcast, the Echo Podcast. I should go check that out. But the only way that evil prevails if good men stand by and do nothing. Is the NFL going to stand by and do nothing? That's the question.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Texas and Arch Manning
baby,
have made some moves and some news. The number one recruit of the 2023 class, Arch Manning, has committed to the Texas Longhorns, Blake.
Yes, he has. And, he didn't do it in a flashy manner, in true Manning fashion. He just kind of put a blah tweet out and said, hey, I'm going to go to the University of Texas. In the age of when kids are, doing the hat reveal, the flag reveal, whatever. I mean, really flashy stuff. I guess it's sort of kind of refreshing, but it's kind of just a Manning thing, really. That's the way they did it too. I mean, I remember Peyton, he just kind of, after he came back from his Tennessee visit, 2 days later, he was eating a burger in a restaurant or something. He just announced it or something.
That's cool. I mean, there's just like any other decisions, there's a ripple down effect about to come here. We have a transfer that you're going to talk about that just came over to Texas. We've got Texas and Oklahoma making this big migration into the SEC. So it kind of lines up with that time. But tell us more about the transfer.
So, this is kind of a funny thing with college football. You always want to have the best talent. So, yes, Arch Manning is supposed to be really, really good. Supposed to be, right? Well, they've already got a guy who just transferred in December, Quinn Ewers. He was also a number one overall quarterback recruit. He actually was originally coming to Texas, decided to go to Ohio State. Now he transferred back to Texas because, this is the age of
move around. Just it doesn't matter.
Leave whenever you want.
Commitments mean nothing.
So if Quinn Ewers is the real deal, if my math serves me correct, Arch Manning is class of 2023, so he won't be
there this year,
available until at the earliest next fall.
2023, he'd be a true freshman. If he's redshirted, that's 2024. They give this Ewers guy at least 2 years, maybe.
Yeah, but I mean, again, if he's the real deal, you're telling me you're going to have a real deal junior that's going to be sat over a redshirt sophomore? I don't know. I mean, this again, we're in the age of, transfer portal and NIL. I don't know any NIL stuff about Arch Manning. I'm sure there's probably something, but there's probably something with Quinn Ewers too.
But the University of Texas and other colleges, they're going to be like, what have you done for me lately, Ewers?
Oh, 100%.
Okay. So you, this year you allowed us to go 9-3, and then you go 0-2 to start the next year, and you're like, no, Manning, you're in. And then Ewers goes to the transfer portal.
So here's
the story.
Here is the tough part. You mentioned the
what
SEC
have you done for
merger.
me lately?
You mentioned the SEC merger with Oklahoma and Texas. 2025 is right now when they're saying that's going to happen. Arch Manning, assuming that he redshirts his freshman year, he'll have a couple more years left. They're comparing him in this article here on CBSSports.com to the likes of Johnny Manziel. Is he going to be as they put it, a transformational talent? A lot of syllables. Transformational talent. Like Johnny Manziel was whenever Texas A&M came to the SEC.
That's all speculation. You can't sit here.
That is my big thing here, man.
He definitely.
There is so much hype here, and look, I mean, it's not just Texas. It's all these guys. These guys haven't even stepped foot on the campus yet. I mean, heaven forbid they get injured.
No, he probably just took his ACT this summer.
I mean, most of these guys
is 25 or whatever.
Exactly. I mean, most of these guys are, juniors when they commit.
I mean, we're talking about a 16-year-old, 17 at best.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a kid.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be a challenge for Steve Sarkisian to keep everybody happy, because honestly, that is the issue today with the transfer portal, is if guys aren't happy, particularly quarterbacks, if they're not going to get to play.
I'll go play at MTSU. I'll go play at La Tech.
I mean,
Texas Tech,
Oklahoma,
Louisiana Lafayette. Yeah, I'll just go to
Alabama.
From Oklahoma to South Carolina. We'll see some of that.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
I'll just go.
It is going to be interesting to see. I mean, just the transfer portal stuff is an absolute soap opera in and of itself. Now you throw in an NIL. Now there's big money involved. What does that do to this situation? I don't know. I don't know that we all really need to get really excited about a kid who is a junior in high school right now, who's got a whole, he's got to
go to a senior banquet. He's got to play another season of high school football.
I was going to say he's got a whole another season of high school football.
He's not going to take a year off.
And look, I mean, I know people in Tennessee or at the University of Tennessee are, it's Nico versus Arch now in 2025. It's like, because Nico Iamaleava, he is it's kind of depends on who you ask when they say who's the best quarterback in the 2023 class. But look, they may all have the physical tools. College football is a different game than high school football. You're playing against men. You're not playing against little boys who shouldn't be playing football. That's the reality. And I'm not saying that they're not good. They are good. I'm sure. I'm certain of it. They wouldn't be getting these offers if they weren't good. But I think we all need to kind of calm down just a little bit. And not to mention, I do not envy someone like Steve Sarkisian who has to manage. I mean, college coaches are now kind of turning into NFL, coaches having to manage personalities and egos now. Because if they don't like it, they'll just, for lack of a better term, they'll be traded. They'll ask for a trade. That's basically what the transfer portal is. And as Tennessee found out last year, when you have your backup quarterback leave in the middle of the fucking season, Harrison Bailey, it sucks, because what happens when your starting quarterback comes up lame? Now you have to put your third string in, and you hope that he doesn't get hurt,
which is your backup punter.
I mean, so I'm sure we're probably going to see some of this the transfer portal stuff rein back in. But it just seems to me like it is just getting kind of crazy. And I'm happy for Arch Manning. I know he comes from a great pedigree. I think he's obviously got a leg up on a lot of people as far as what to expect playing in the SEC and playing under pressure. I'm sure he's probably got a good head on his shoulders. But let's let him be a high school senior. Let's let him develop, because you never know. He may get to college. He may stink it up. May never see the field. I mean, Tennessee thought Harrison Bailey was going to be the next, Peyton Manning. I mean, that was the actual comparison that they made to him. And he hardly ever saw the field. And I'm starting to think that there was a reason for that. And there's probably a reason why when he left the University of Tennessee, and this is no knock on UNLV, but the only place he could find to go was UNLV. You go from a SEC powerhouse, quote unquote, historical powerhouse, to UNLV. Quite the step down. But anyway, that's all I got on Arch Manning.
Welcome to the SEC, Arch.
Yeah, we'll see. That's the other thing. I mean, they're saying 2025 for Texas and Oklahoma. Maybe we'll see if that's actually the date that it happens. I mean, we don't really know that. Man, I'm watching Newberry flip through his phone over here. One thing that I thought was funny is I saw that Trevor Lawrence lost $15 million because he got some of his money in crypto.
Dude, you can't take my final thought. Come on, man.
I couldn't help it.
Any final, that's one of my favorite segments. It's always one last nugget.
It's all
but
good.
Now you just brought it into the regular show.
I know, man. But hey, I mean, it's Trevor Lawrence knows his time is short. So he has to make sure he was taking a gamble. He's taking a gamble. Before we came on here, we did see that the freaking PGA Tour is going, suspension happy lately.
They're like, it's either us, you're either with us or you're against us, even if you're doing some charitable thing or some silly thing for kids and Nickelodeon, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
It's totally different than the live conversation.
Yeah. So this was breaking at the time. It was Justin Thomas, John Rahm, and Colin Morikawa have been suspended with immediate effect for their participation in the Slime Cup on the rival Nickelodeon tour.
The Slime Cup. I love it. Double dare, baby.
I know that there's a lot of business, a lot of dollars, a lot of business deals, a lot of contracts that are in effect here with a lot of these players. But I think you have to be able to use your judgment a little bit better, don't you? I mean,
absolutely.
It just seems to me that
use some common sense, folks.
It just seems to me that whenever you acknowledge something like I didn't know the Nickelodeon tour was a thing. The Slime Cup. I don't even know what that is. It just seems to me that if you acknowledge something like that as being a rival, you're giving them more of a platform and more of a leg to stand on. Jay Monahan, PGA Tour Commissioner, says, we welcome good, healthy competition. The Nickelodeon Slime Cup is not that.
The Slime Cup.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I know that there's a lot of drama going on with the LIV tour or challenge or whatever the fuck it is. But I think the more attention you give to this thing, the worse you're making yourself look, because you kind of seem like a sniveling little baby. Just my opinion. I think if the PGA Tour will learn some lessons by observing some of the things that maybe players like about some of these other tours or some of the fun stuff that they do, I think that could be helpful. I mean, the money's obviously there. The PGA, they announced they're going to start doing some more events that are going to be higher purses. So, I mean, the money's always been there. The PGA is just such a top-heavy organization. They pay all these executives out there goo gobs of money. Not really sure exactly what they do. I'm sure they do something.
Oh, yeah.
But it's just astronomical probably what they're getting paid.
And remember, like we said at the top of the show, there are so many entities and people that are doing great things in the communities, great things in society. It's just the newsworthy things are all negative.
Yeah.
Just all the time.
Absolutely they are. I mean, it sucks. It really does. But I don't got anything else. You got anything else?
We'll see.
Okay. Challenge accepted, he says.
Don't forget, you're already here. Hit the like.
Yeah, go ahead and hit that.
Hit the follow.
Guys, it's free. We're not going to bug you. It's not going to, unless you hit the notification bell, which if you do want notifications of new episodes, you hit the little bell icon.
We'll chat with you. We did that this past week.
Absolutely.
We appreciate.
We love hearing from you. We love hearing from you guys. Hit that like and subscribe button for us. It really helps us out. Really, YouTube loves it too. They love it for the algorithm and all that. But Newberry, final thoughts.
I'm going to the NBA now for my final thoughts.
Oh, wow. He dug deep.
The National Basketball Association has just concluded their NBA finals for the 2022 season, with the Golden State Warriors winning the championship, and the MVP was one Steph Curry. Congratulations, you 3-point shooting from everywhere on the basketball court, man. A little NBA shout out here on DDS. We never do it.
There you go. I guess. Balling. I don't know, man. I'm not much of an NBA guy, but I do know one thing.
What's that?
It is two-tone blue all the way. You guys be well.